Hello, this video is about how to get rid of browser hijacks. This is when your browser is taken over by some malicious search engine which sends all your searches to rubbish sites, or even if you key in the actual correct address in the address bar here, it will send you to the wrong place. It pumps up loads of adverts all over the place. Some of the worst ones even stick shortcuts and so on your desktop and so on. How do you get rid of them? Well, I've put the ask toolbar in my system just as an example. It's not a malicious one, it's just one that people often get by accident because they're not reading what they're installing, and they just install it without noticing. There's another video I've got about that. But once it's there, what do you do to get rid of it? Well, the ask toolbar is can't even say the word, a legitimate program, so you can actually go to view toolbars in most browsers and turn it off. There, the toolbar disappears. Okay. However, it's also made itself my default home page, and it's actually my default search provider. This is Firefox, but the other browsers are much the same. I'll show you on those too. What you should do with any of these things if you want to get rid of it is go to Control Panel and use Programs and Features, or on some versions it'll say Add and Remove Programs, or you may have a different view like this. It's all the same. Go to Uninstall a Program there. I prefer the view where I can see everything. And you can simply uninstall a legitimate program, and even the illegitimate ones. The first step should be to find them in the Control Panel and uninstall them. It doesn't get rid of the bad ones, it will get rid of something like this. But supposing that fails, or even if it works, you may find that your search provider is still unchanged. What do you do? Well, in Firefox you can turn off the toolbar, you can choose a different search provider just from the drop down list, and indeed you can manage your search providers. So I could go here and remove it if I want to, no problem. The one at the top is your default, so just move whatever one you like to the top of the list with the button here. And this search uses whatever's chosen here as its search provider. But I think my home page is still Ask, so I have to go to Options, and I have to actually manually put in what page I want, or I can just go to it and then say Use Current Page. So I can go like that, and then I can go to Tools, Options, Use Current Page, and there it is. You may find also in your add-ons, there it is, you can remove it, kapow. So there's several steps you have to do. In Internet Explorer, let me open Internet Explorer, it's kind of similar. I haven't put the Ask toolbar in here. But you have to go to the gear wheel, and you've got some internet options, and you put your default home page that you want to be there. But it's a little tougher because you've still got default search provider, which is a separate thing. And you might have add-ons as well. So here in the add-ons you find your toolbars, you find any that you don't want, and you disable or even remove them. Sometimes you can get rid of them fairly easily. Okay, but at the very minimum, turn them off and uninstall them. Search providers, you may have a list here. You can remove them, and you can prevent programs from changing it by ticking the box. Tick these boxes to make life easier for you. So you might have Bing or Ask or Conduit Search or some evil one like that. You can try and remove them. The bad ones may still hang around even after you've done that. And in Chrome, it's kind of similar. You go to the settings, tell it to open a specific page or set of pages, and you tell it, you remove all the ones you don't want, just click the X, and you add one that you want, and you OK it. Plus here you can manage search engines. Again, you can simply remove any that you don't want or make it default. And that's how it's done. In some circumstances, with malicious bit of malware, even that won't stop it, and you have to do a full reset on the browser. I'll come back to that because it's only something you have to do occasionally. The next step for most people would be to scan your machine to see if you can get rid of the malware, because once it's on there, cleaning up the browser with those little bits probably won't get rid of the bad ones. That will get rid of innocuous ones like the Ask toolbar. It's still here, but it's not doing anything now. So I've downloaded MalwareBytes anti-malware. It's already on my machine, but let's see if we can find it anyway. If this is what you would do. If your browser is so badly compromised that you cannot search properly and you can't find the site, you would have to run your computer in safe mode with networking. And if you can't do that, you need to use another computer and download these programs onto a memory stick or something so that you can get them onto your machine from there. To run safe mode with networking, what you need to do is choose restart on your computer, but when your computer starts up you get that black screen with what is called the BIOS settings, and after that disappears you have to tap the F8 key lots of times, and hopefully you'll get it right, and Windows will, instead of coming up with the Windows logo, it will come up with a menu with various recovery options, and safe mode with networking should be one of them. You have to choose the networking one so that you can download these programs if you haven't got them. I'm not going to demonstrate safe mode on this computer because it's not practical to record it. It comes out huge and it's just difficult. But I can show you another way of getting in. If the F8 key trick doesn't work for you and you can't figure out how to make it work, you have to be hitting the F8 key before the Windows logo appears, alright? Otherwise you'll miss it. But there's another way, which is to go to Start, and in the box here type in msconfig and run that. And this allows you to set the boot up. On most computers this will be all ticked here, but I'm a bit of a specialist user and I do various things. So this section, what you do is choose Safe Boot with Network, and you OK it. And when your machine restarts, it will go into safe mode. When you finish with safe mode, in safe mode you do exactly the same. You go to Start and you run msconfig again. Okay, and you go to the boot menu here and you turn this off. Okay. So you turn it on, you say OK, and then you reboot your computer. And when you're finished, you turn it off, you say OK, and you reboot your computer. And that's safe mode with networking. Now, I'm not going to do anything because I haven't actually made any changes, so that's that. So you need to get MalwareBytes. Now you'll be offered it from various websites, and this is true of the other programs as well. I'm going to recommend. You need to make sure you get them from a good site. MalwareBytes.org, they're the creators of MalwareBytes, so that's a good site. CNET, well, they thrust a lot of advertisingware and conduit search and other nasty stuff on you. I would recommend you only use them if you know how to avoid getting infected. Same with people like Softpedia and so on. FileHippo is okay, MajorGeeks is okay, bleepingcomputer.com, they're fine. I've not had trouble with any of those. But for now, let's go to the actual people. Their site looks fake if you ask me, but it's actually the real one, and you just get the free version and run it. Now I've already got it, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to run it. It's on here somewhere. Here we go. Pop. You need to make sure that you have your updates, my updates. Mine is up to date as it happens, but you would update it. And then you run a scan. So I'll scan. It should find the Ask toolbar, and then you can see how to remove it. So just do the normal scan, or if you go to the dashboard, just hit scan now. And it's going to start. It's going to take it about 15 minutes. MalwareBytes is actually pretty quick, or this version. The older versions were much slower. So I'm going to pause the recording for now while it scans, and I'll come back to you in a bit. Okay, so the scan is complete and it has found the Ask toolbar. Give me the option to quarantine it, or I can add an exclusion so it ignores it in future, or I can just ignore it this time. I suppose for demonstration purposes I might ignore it this time, but you would normally choose quarantine and quarantine everything that it finds, basically. It'll probably find a lot on most people's computers. So I'm just going to cancel for the moment, because I'm going to leave it here because we've got to get another program on here to try. Because yes, I want to cancel the cleanup for now. Because I scan with that one, but sometimes it'll miss something. Oh, I had to put this back, by the way, because it wouldn't detect it unless it was actually running, because Ask is actually a sort of legitimate program in that it, when you turn it off, it actually stays off. So I switched it on so that MalwareBytes would actually detect it. Sometimes, though, your programs or MalwareBytes doesn't necessarily detect everything, and no spyware or malware scanner will detect everything. A study was done in 2011, and about a third of malware was actually what they call zero-day malware, stuff which your virus detectors don't know about. New viruses, in other words. They know about it a day or two later, but at the time it infects your system, quite often it's unknown. This, of course, is known about, and it's not really malware, it's a potentially unwanted program, because it foists itself onto your system whilst you think you're downloading something else. Why this company would want to tarnish its reputation by doing that, I don't know. Why Java, for example, would want to tarnish their reputation by offering this with the boxes ticked by default so that you download this unless you read what it says, I don't know. That's to their long-term disadvantage, I think. But anyway, the next program we need to look for is, first of all, let me go to a proper search engine. Okay, Spybot. There it is, which comes from safernetworking.org. Again, it's available from other places, but I would only get it from legitimate ones. FileHippo is okay. Major Geeks is okay, as usual. I wouldn't trust others. So let's get it. It's a little hard to download because they want you to buy it rather than use the free version. So you have to get to the downloads page. They keep changing this, so it's all a bit of a pain, really. And find the little link. Download the free edition. And then you've got to find somewhere to get it from. I'd get it from the company itself. Download. I don't want to donate at the moment. Maybe in the future, if this video makes me rich. Hey, download. I think yes. And here it is, let's install it. Personal use for the moment. Me, I always want more control. I'm not going to have it run in the background all the time, but you might, it's up to you if you want to buy it. Good program. Save it where I want to. I'll install all the bits, whatever they are. For now. I don't want any of these schedules. I'll do this myself when I need it. You probably don't either, but it's up to you. If you want to use this as your primary malware scanner, why not? It's not an antivirus program, it's other malware, spyware, people who are trying to steal your bank details. They're not necessarily viruses, technically speaking. A virus is self-replicating. It's a program which spawns more of itself and then sends itself out from your computer to other computers. These, just malware, other malware that is just infects your computer for some local reason, like somebody's after your bank details or something like that. It doesn't necessarily spread from your computer to others, although it might. But then it becomes technically a virus, a self-replicating program. I normally uninstall this program after scanning with it. Because I use it just as a scanner. And I get a new version when necessary. So let's open it up and see what we get. It's pretty daunting when it starts up. You've got all this stuff. The first thing to do is get an update. Always get an update. Get the latest signatures. There are updates. Get them. I'll just pause the recording while it's doing this. Okay, nearly done. Update's completed, so close this window, and the next thing which I would recommend people do is immunize your system. This, for the technically minded, it updates the hosts file with lists of bad websites, dangerous websites indeed. Okay, I'll close Firefox for the moment. There we go, and check. So basically, whenever your computer attempts to visit a known infected, dangerous website, it will check its host file, as it always does, and it will not go there. Basically, the file it's a list of banned websites, and it'll just not go anywhere instead. So we apply the immunization. It's found that there's a lot of bad websites available to be immunized against, so let's do it. It's worth running this program every now and then to immunize your system. Even if you uninstall it, your system remains immunized, unless you choose the option to remove that. I'll pause the recording while it's doing it. It takes it about a minute or two. Alright, it's done. That's the immunization, but that still isn't the scanning for the malware. This is just getting ready. Having done the update, having done the immunization, you then scan your system. Let's just get this onto the screen if I can. There we go. Well, let's start a scan. And I will again pause the recording while it does it. Okay, it has scanned. It took it 24 minutes or so on my machine. On a slow old machine it will take a lot longer. And it says check the results list for details. That is here. Though you have some options, but let's see what it found then. Ooh, some stuff. But this isn't malware, it's tracking data, history. I think of this sort of privacy information really. There's nothing important there. Cookies, stuff in the browser cache. That's fine if you want your machine to be super private and not remember anything that you do ever. Fine. You can fix all these with a little click of the button. I'm not going to do that. I want my histories and stuff to hang around, at least for the moment. So close that and exit the program and come back to Firefox for the moment to find the next one. And the next one, if I go is adware cleaner. I don't know what it's really called. I've tried to go to their actual site, but I can't find the proper link to download it on the actual site, so I just get it from bleepingcomputer.com. This program is really fast, so let me get it. Straightforward, no messing about. That's what I like. and let's go there and run it. On a Windows 7 operating system, with all of these programs, if you don't have administrator rights, or even sometimes if you do, it's best to right click and run as administrator. This one doesn't even need to be installed, it simply runs, which is also good. It doesn't mess with your registry. You can scan, and there's no point in pausing because it will go very quickly. You can see it's found ask already. And that's it, and all you have to do is hit clean and wallop, it cleans it, and then you have to reboot your computer. So I'm not going to do that now. We'll deal with that. Well, you don't need to deal with it at all, do you? I'll deal with it later. The next one, oh, not junkware, I want Google, don't I? Yes, there we go. What I need is a junkware removal tool. There it is. Which again I will get from bleepingcomputer.com. It's on Major Geeks as well. This one, I will run it so that you can see what happens. It might not work very well because it sticks an icon on the desktop, and I've got my desktop icons turned off whilst recording, so bit of experiment. Anyway, we can download it. It also messes with the screen display and so on while it's running, so that might also upset the recording, but we'll see. There it is, it pops up a scary old command prompt, press a key. That's actually going to do it, it's up to date. It may blank the screen out temporarily, we'll see. Sometimes it installs and says, when you run it, it says it's not up to date. Do you want to get an update? You just hit Y for yes and enter, and it will sort it out for itself. And then it'll stick an icon on the desktop, and you run that one, and that'll be fine. It'll do this same thing. It takes it usually 2 or 3 minutes to check everything. And what I do with customer systems, which are usually pretty heavily infected with lots and lots of junk, I run all 4 programs, one after the other. MalwareBytes anti-malware, Spybot, also known as Spybot Search and Destroy, ADW Cleaner, and JRT, Junkware Removal Tool. There are other programs which are worth a mention. There's Microsoft's Malicious Software Removal Tool. You can simply get that from Microsoft, download it, run it whenever you like. It searches for certain particular viruses and malware, certain particularly vicious ones. It doesn't do an entire scan for everything, it just removes certain particularly troublesome, nasty pieces of software. Microsoft also do a Microsoft Safety Scanner. You put that search into Google and you'll find it on Microsoft's site. You download it and run it, and it does a scan, or you tell it to do a scan, and it's the same idea, except that this one, again, it doesn't install. You just download a fresh one every few days and run it again if you want to. There's one called Combo Fix, which is an independent program. It's very powerful and probably best not used if you don't really know what you're doing, because it messes with the machine at a deep level sometimes. But you know, sometimes desperate needs require desperate measures. If you must protect your data or something, oh, there goes the screen display, whoosh, then you must run Combo Fix sometimes. The site it comes from is written in sort of not very clear English because it's a foreign author, but it's okay. Oh, my icons have returned. Well, fine. And there's one other tool I'll show you, which is Avast's browser cleanup tool. Avast is an antivirus program, but it also has the capacity to remove add-ons from browsers, and sometimes that's all you need to remove some non-malicious toolbars and rubbish that are cluttering it up. It's free. You can get it from the Avast website. Just wait for this. This will probably want me to reboot the computer at the end, but I won't do it until after the video is over, if I can avoid it. Okay, well, I'll pause it for a minute. It might look like it's going to take a bit longer, so I'll pause the video for the moment. Okay, it's got past the registry, which is probably the long bit. We'll see how it goes now. Nearly there, hopefully, but these things always take longer than you think. More than you expect. Bop. And here's its summary of what it did, and it got rid of some stuff. It usually does. And it's ask. It didn't bother to ask about ask, it just zapped it. And that's one thing to note with the junkware removal tool. It doesn't ask you, it does its job. And ask is classified as junkware because it is a potentially unwanted program. It foists itself upon you when you're installing other stuff, and goodbye. So I don't know what will happen if I open my browser now. I may have to reboot the computer, really. Yes, you see it's still there, but my home page has gone to the Mozilla start page instead of ask. Okay, and while I'm about it, let's just turn off this silly old toolbar anyway. The Avast browser cleanup tool. Now, I've got the antivirus program, but as I say, you can download the tools from the website for free, whether you have antivirus or not. And it just analyzes the browsers basically, and you can see the ask toolbar is there, and I can simply remove it. And I can choose who else I want. Well, I don't really want either of those actually. I'll cancel. That's what you can do. Okay, one last thing you can try as a last, well, or even a first resort sometimes, is system restore. If your computer has, well, if we go to accessories, system tools, you've got system restore in there. If your system has a restore point set, then you can choose it and it'll set all your Windows settings back to how they were prior to the infection. Sometimes that's all you need to do. It's possible that your system restore isn't even set up on your computer. That is under administrative tools, system, or is it actually? You know, I've forgotten. It's in control panel, system protection. Nothing simple with Microsoft. You make sure that certain drives are protected, your actual physical hard drives. It's probably not a good idea to set it to check your external storage. But you can configure how much space on your system to allow. I don't know why this is turned off. It should be on. And give myself something. So that it will have restore points. Oh, it's because I'm looking at that drive. Yes, I don't want that actually. I've just done it wrong. So turn that off. Alright. Okay. Yep, I do. It's got to be on your other drives, especially the C drive, if you want to be able to restore Windows when it's corrupt. And your data files. That needs to be on as well, if I keep mine on a different drive. So what that means is if I open some folders, I don't know what, I can go to properties and there's a previous version sometimes, and if things have gone wrong I can simply hit that and it'll come back. But for restoring your entire infected Windows, you use the system restore tool, which, well, it's here. I've lost it again. There you go. System tools, system restore, of course. Under accessories, system tools, system restore. That's for getting stuff back. Okay, well I hope that's been useful, and goodbye for now.